Hello, YouTube friends. How is everyone doing? Astro Coach Sarah here for your cosmic briefing for this full moon in Scorpio happening on May 1st. So this is our second first of the month full moon because we had one on April 1st as well. And this one's in Scorpio. And I have good news, kind of. We're kind of done with the heavy hitter transits for now. We have more coming, especially in July. But Uranus has moved into Gemini. We have Neptune and Saturn both in Aries. We've had all of the Saturn-Mars conjunctions. That doesn't mean that there aren't more things to happen because now here's the not so good part is that we now have a bunch of new energy, right? Neptune moved into Aries after spending 14 years in Pisces. Okay, so we kind of floated along the river for a while since about 2012. And now we are in the Delulu fire of Aries and Neptune, which is going to be very interesting. We have not experienced Neptune and Aries since the 1860s. So there's that. We have not experienced Saturn in Aries since the late 1990s. If you can think back then, I was in college. So if that's any perspective. I think I would have started college, and at some point during Saturn and Aries, I would have turned 21 and life got really fun. Um, says the girl who's now almost 4 years sober. Um, and then we have Uranus in Gemini for the first time since the 1940s, and Pluto, of course, in Aquarius. So now here's how this works. And this is the kind of not so good part is that now as the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, even the luminaries, the sun and the moon, as they make their rounds around the zodiac because they move much quicker, they're going to have conversations with these outer planets that are going to be different conversations than we are used to. So we're all going to kind of go through a period of adjustment. So while May is not a heavy hitter of transits, there are still going to be transits, there still are planet conversations. But the things that we have, like a Mercury square Pluto, which we've had or I think one or two of those so far. But certainly as we get into Gemini season and we have Mercury conjunct Uranus in Gemini, and then we get Mars into Taurus, squaring Pluto, and then Mars into Gemini later on, conjuncting Uranus. That's the July 4th transit. That'll be exciting. If you have any reference, Mars conjunct Uranus was the date that which our current president was running for office, and there was an assassination attempt on him in July of 2024. So that is Mars conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Uranus in Taurus was calm. Uranus doesn't do as well in Taurus. Uranus is now in Gemini. So what we really want to pay attention to is Mercury. So those of you who might be Mercury sensitive, you have overactive sensory issues, you have nervous system issues, you have sensory overload, you have ADHD, scatterbrained, kind of situations. Maybe you're emotionally overreactive, depending on if your Mercury is in a water sign or not. You might be an emotionally overreactive person. So if you are Mercury spicy and or like even I can use common terms like neurodivergent, neurospicy, things like that, you might notice an uptick in your neurotype symptoms with Uranus and Gemini. Um, so learning to manage your neuro situation might be beneficial. Emotional intelligence work. I know a few people who do emotional intelligence work if you need a referral. Learning how to navigate very quickly changing situations. So if you have a lot of Virgo, Virgo rising, Virgo sun, Virgo Mercury, maybe, whatever it is, If you've got a lot of Virgo, this might really make you feel uncomfortable, make you feel like things are moving too quickly because, Virgos sometimes need a plan. They need to know all the details. Uranus ain't gonna have it. Uranus is like, you better take the leap of faith, right? So if you are Mercury sensitive, like the symptoms I just mentioned, uh, you may have a hard time with Uranus and Gemini. So learning how to manage your nervous system, implementing herbs, not necessarily the Mary Jane kind, but there are other herbs that help the nervous system. Um, Herbs, essential oils, different teas that might help calm you down. Learning what those are, maybe experimenting with different teas to help calm your system down. Um, might be very helpful if you have neuro type issues, if you have sensitivity issues, if you need to know all of the information and you feel like the world's kind of zippy zappy fast. So anyway, that's Uranus and Gemini. Uranus and Mercury speak the same language. Uranus is just more like shock and disruptive and rebellious and all of those sorts of things. And Uranus is going to bring that. Uranus represents technology and shifty, changey stuff with technology. So you better believe we're going to see some of that as we get into um, June. I feel like we're going to start to see some changes in technology, in jobs, in daily routines, and things like that. Um, so just be aware that if you happen to have a Mercury and water sign, so Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, that you might have a more difficult adjustment time dealing with Uranus and Gemini. So if you don't know where your Mercury is at, give a girl a call. I can help you out with that. Um, but Mercury in water signs is a little bit more sensitive to everything than in other signs. Doesn't mean that Mercury in other signs isn't, but more so in water signs. Um, so that's Uranus and Gemini. And so now, as we, like I said, as the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, move through the zodiac, we're going to have now these new conversations with these outer planets that are going to be different. They're going to have a different energy. They're going to have a different flavor. They're going to have, things aren't going to be the same and you're going to have to adapt and we're all going to have to adapt and adjust, right? You are going to start to see further collapse of systems and structures. I can tell you from personal experience that a nonprofit that I work with is on its way down. It's ending. That has not been fully decided yet, but it's not looking good. And so what's coming in its place is kind of where I want to go with that conversation is like, there's people who never volunteer. There's people who never step up and help with phone calls, emails, advertising. They never step up, right? And I feel like one day people are going to wake up like, where did my fest go? How come my fest isn't happening? How come my event isn't happening that I count on every year? I can tell you why. It's because people are done. People are done. They're ready to sit down. Many of us are ready to sit down and enjoy our lives and not have to pull all of the weight for entire groups of people who aren't doing a damn thing to help us out. It's that simple. So getting, Gemini is also getting involved with your community, in whatever capacity. Maybe that's getting on your HOA. Maybe that's getting involved with your apartment building. Maybe that's getting involved with a local community group. Whatever that might look like for you. Maybe you're not in the right community and it's time to move so that you can comfortably get involved with your community. But we're really going to start to see changes in our society very quickly. So if you thought you had, 5 years to figure it out, you don't. You don't. You don't have 5 years. So I would take action ASAP. There's a reason that I moved when I moved. Not only as an astrologer and like I knew what was coming and all of that. Yeah, there's that part of it, but there was also the part of it of needing support in different ways than my previous community could provide. And hands down, 1000%, God is good. I'm glad that I moved when I moved, because there's no friggin' way I would have the resources of support that I currently have where I'm at. And that's not just, friends that support me. That's having transit service. That's having things within walking distance that I can get to. That's having the ability to get out every day and get my outdoor workout done. All of those things, getting groceries that I need, and everything in between. Having a place to stay when I needed a place to stay, all of those sorts of things. So, hands down, 1,000% glad I took action when I took action. Yes, there's fate and there's divine timing, and there's doing the damn thing so that you can get where you need to be, so that you're in a good place before the shit hits the fan. Because that is every time I have done it that way, it's worked out. When I have waited until like until my ego, my brain felt like it was time to do it, I was usually too late. Um, so I guess I've learned some lessons along my nomadic journey. Um, anyway, so the Scorpio full moon, I'm going to show you the chart here in a second. May 1st, if I remember correctly, it's at 12:21 palindrome 1221 p.m. Central Time, is when it peaks. It's going to it's going to have a loose square to Pluto. Now, I'm recording this on Monday evening, the 27th, and we had the exact sun square Pluto on Saturday evening, along with Uranus ingressing into Gemini. And that would be the evening of the White House Correspondents event that occurred. Um, and so that square, Sun Pluto square, is separating by this full moon, but it's still at play. However, I feel like this Scorpio full moon is bringing a lot of possible healing. And in fact, I broke out the dark magic oracle deck for this full moon because I feel like this one holds a lot of healing. Number one, you're going to see that Mercury is going to be conjunct Chiron in Aries, and Chiron is going to be moving into Taurus here in a few weeks. And so we're getting the kind of the last hurrahs of Chiron in Aries. Aries is masculine, it's men. Um, and I have heard a lot of men recently saying that, acknowledging that men fucked up, right? That they've let women down, they've let children down. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, there's kind of two ways of looking at that. Because the guy, they're not wrong. Men have failed. And I am not hating on men, okay? Because God bless the men who hold the door, who help women, help children, help, do all of the male things, right? But there's a lot of men out there who don't do that shit. They will literally sit and watch a woman struggle. They will watch another man struggle without offering to help because they're so in their own little world, or they're too soy boy to to help out. Not trying to be an asshole, but this is the reality that we live in, is masculinity needs to come back. And so I love hearing these men talking about the fact that men are acknowledging that they fucked up. Yep, but women didn't help. Let's acknowledge our part in the situation. I might lose some people or gain some people for those one. I don't give a shit. Um, I think that when men don't go to the gym, lift weights, or do farm chores, or do labor chores and have muscle, I think it's a problem. I think that's a real problem. And I think there has to be a new way of looking at the balance between masculine and feminine, even women and men, right? So, but the other way of looking at that is, and I've heard several podcasters talk about this, one being Andy Frisella. If you don't listen to the Real AF podcast, I highly recommend it. And I know I heard somebody else saying this too. I've heard it in various capacities, we'll put it that way, of everyone's waiting for the next level of leadership. They're waiting for the midterm election. They're waiting for the next presidential election. If you are waiting for that, you are waiting for the wrong thing, because Don't matter who is in those offices. If you haven't figured it out yet, none of them are looking out for any of us. We need to step up ourselves. This is why you need to be in a group or community that will support you. Because even I am not fully capable, and this isn't like criticizing myself, but I'm not fully capable of taking a stand when I need to take a stand. You damn right I'm going to turn towards the security guard or the cop when shit hits the fan. Now, I have not had to do that, but I definitely know that there are people in my immediate vicinity who see me every day and they know that I'm out getting my steps in. There's bus drivers who know me, who see me. Okay, this is what the fuck I'm talking about is you need to have people in your community or immediate neighborhood that are quietly watching your back, if you know what I mean. Okay? Because you never know when some shit's gonna happen. But if you're not willing to do the thing to get to the community that's going to be the most beneficially supportive to you, that's a whole different level of problem. But if you're, and also if you are waiting for the next leadership, it that ain't gonna happen either. I don't give a damn who holds offices until we have some new people. It's kind of like I just talked about with the volunteers and event coordinators and things like that. Until we have people actually taking a fucking stand, this shit doesn't change. We got too many keyboard warriors and people hiding behind video cameras like I'm doing right now. I am actually getting out though. Getting more involved in local stuff and I am actually getting out and doing things. And I'm going to be doing more of that very soon. Um, but until we have more people getting involved and stop hiding behind the keyboard and the social media camera and the this and the that, we don't change it. Yes, Pluto and Aquarius is power back to the people, but what happens when the people don't take their power? Where does it then go? Because I guarantee you, no matter who comes into what office, like Illinois has been trying to get a decent governor for as long as my parents have been alive, and my parents are in their 70s. And Illinois has never had a decent governor. So, I mean, people are like, oh no, it's going to switch this time. It's going to switch. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It does not change until we all take a stand and make it change. So if you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs like, la la la, let me binge the latest Netflix show. I tried watching The Pit on HBO. I'm so mad. Besides Noah Wiley, who the fuck are these people in this show? It's audio described, so I might continue to watch it, but I don't know. It's just, ugh. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, and I kind of want to see where the storyline goes, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm way behind on it too, but it's what else is new. Um, but there again, like binging a show, binging, nostalgia, hanging out in your online groups and things like that. That's not getting us where we need to be getting. So looking at the Scorpio full moon and the Mercury conjunct Chiron and Mars coming up to conjunct Chiron. Actually, Mars was going to square Jupiter and then conjunct Chiron. But like looking at those things, like, yeah, you've healed a lot, but do something with it. We've all been through a transformation over the last at least 6 years. Now it's time we start taking action and getting, doing our part. So let's like take a look at the chart and kind of walk through this full moon and see what's going on. So one sec. All right. By the way, if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, you should do so. There's a link to do that below this video. I think my next newsletter will be coming out sometime this weekend, and my plan at this point is to highlight some headlines that have passed my radar and connect them to current astrology and themes and things like that. So I think it's going to be really interesting. Because one, I'm not exactly a go read the news type of person, but I have seen some stories that I feel like are very relevant. So I'm kind of compiling some research about that. But anyway, so sign up for my newsletter to find out what headlines I'm going to talk about because that could be interesting. I'm not a news person, so okay. So on this chart, you can see it's a what are we at? A Leo rising. Oh, yeah, Leo rising chart um for this full moon. It's at 11 degrees of um Scorpio, sun's at 11, obviously. And then Pluto's at 5. Pluto's actually going to station retrograde about 5 days after this full moon, which unless you have planets or points at 5 degrees of Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, or Scorpio, you probably ain't going to feel it. Um, but if you're lucky me, it's all over my ascendant right now. Um, I get Uranus out of Taurus, and now I have Pluto in Aquarius. So anyway, that's the treat of having fixed signs. Um, maybe I'll show you all my chart here in a second, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Uh, we got Jupiter at 19, so um, it's in a trine roughly. The planet, the little thing here above Jupiter on the left-hand side is Hegea. Hegea is an asteroid that is about healing, and I think it's interesting that it is in a trine here with this full moon. Again, that kind of reiterates the healing component of this full moon is, Scorpio's the deep waters, right? It is the deep, dark emotions. It is your guilt, your shame. It's it's the deep stuff. That's why a lot of Scorpio folks wear a lot of dark. They tend to like Halloweeny things or gothic things. Um, and a lot of Scorpios that don't present that way also wear gray or black. So maybe they don't present as a dark person, but they probably are behind closed doors. So they just are too shameful for others to realize for others to know how dark they are is typically what I find with Scorpio folks, whether it's a Scorpio sun, Scorpio rising. Et cetera, et cetera. But then again, I wear a lot of light colors. I don't know, but people can look at me and see that I'm a Scorpio rising. So there's that. Um, I do like bold colors, and I do wear a lot of black, but not that much. Um, and then of course so Hegea is the goddess of healing, and it's also like the serpent factor, like the serpent shedding or the serpent's healing factors. And I think that's interesting because Scorpio is also the serpent. So it's almost like there's a shedding happening here with this full moon. Like it's okay to, like, there's so much positive energy coming that is all about being yourself and being safe, being yourself. And so many people don't feel safe to be themselves. So many people hide who they really are. They're so afraid of whatever, their parents, their family, their whatever. And a lot of that shit's gonna have to stop very quickly. Because we really, with Pluto and Aquarius, like Pluto's the co-ruler of Scorpio, like we need to see who you really are. And we can tell when you're hiding. I can tell when people are trying to fake their shit. Um, what else we got going on? Ceres or Ceres in Taurus there is at what is that 18. So there's actually kind of a conjunction between the sun and Ceres or Ceres, Ceres. Um, I don't usually use these asteroids. I think I took the screenshot when I was doing a different video that the asteroids are actually on here, but conveniently. They're on here. Ceres is the maternal. It's nurturing, and it's currently in Taurus, and this sun is conjunct. Um, it's a wide conjunction, but it's a conjunction between Ceres and the sun with this healing full moon in Scorpio. And it's almost like re-parent yourself or re-mother yourself with confidence, re-nurture yourself so that you can be who you're here to be. Right? I mean, I'm telling you, Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius is really gonna pull people to be who they really are. So you're gonna start to see a lot of trendy type of things fucking gone. I'm already seeing it. That might be something I talk about. I don't know if we'll talk about that in my newsletter. I don't know where I'm going to talk about that, but I do see trendy things dissipating. We'll put it this way. Starbucks is leaving Seattle. I mean, that's something right there. Um, I think that that's very, very telling. I don't know where to go with that and what with what I feel about that, but I can tell you that trendy things, like, should I just say it? I think woke culture is going. I don't care what political anything that you are, that's not what this is about. But I'm going to tell you that my sister-in-law and I recently were in Seattle, and her and I are very open-minded, accepting people. And, we don't bat an eyebrow at anything, right? Like she and my brother have tons of tattoos. Like, we're very diverse people ourselves, but like we were uncomfortable in Seattle. Like really, like it was just awkward. Um, and I feel like that with Starbucks leaving, like I don't know, I just feel like that culture is that trendy type of culture is dissipating. And I feel like that's now going to accelerate with Uranus and Gemini. Um, um, sorry, I am totally distracted by the music that's being played downstairs from me. Yes, I can hear it. Um, Anyway, so back to the chart. I think with Uranus and Gemini, though, and Pluto and Aquarius, and I think even with this full moon, I think that we're really going to start to see inauthenticity. Like, what does my colleague like to say? Nothing inauthentic stands the test of time. So if you're, fake and full of shit and you're trying to put on a show, it's the mask is going to fall off. Your skin's going to shed off. That persona that you're attempting to uphold is no longer going to um, it's no longer going to suffice. You're going to desire to be more yourself. And like, I don't agree with that. I don't align with that. That's stupid. And you're going to want to be yourself and whatever that looks like for you. And that could even look like if you are somebody, I talked about that Mercury stuff earlier, and the Mercury sensitivities and whatnot. That could be that you're like, I don't even need to complain about being neuro whatever. It's just part of who I am, and it's just my quirks and my eccentricities, and it's good. It's okay. Same thing here. We've got that Mercury conjunct Chiron at 27, Aries, which is where we had the Aries new moon a month ago. So that's a thing. Mars is at 16. It is in kind of an aspect to that full moon, and it's called an inconjunct. So it's a little trickier. Mars is also moving in at 16. Aries moving in on a square to Jupiter at 19. That's probably about a couple of days after this full moon. I don't know what to think of that. Mars is at home in Aries, so he's in his happy place and could fight any battle. Jupiter is exalted. So Jupiter's kind of being lazy because he's just feeling so good. But this could really be one of those like you like feeling good and you're willing to fight for whatever it takes to feel as good as you feel. I can definitely relate to that, having been somebody who's been through a dark depression, and different things that go along with depression. And now I know what it's like to experience joy. So I'm constantly seeking that out. And I am willing to fight every day for, feeling happier than the day before. Or at least feeling more content than I did the day before. So anywho, so that's kind of all the aspects here, but I feel like there's something transformative in like maybe you're gonna shed off that shame. Like, fuck it. I don't need to feel shameful for being who I am. I'm, in my 40s, in my 30s. I want to be this way, and that's how I'm gonna be. Um, and you don't have to do a production of the fuck you, I don't need your opinion. That doesn't have to be a production. You can just simply stop acknowledging someone else's opinion of you because it's really none of your business what other people think of you. Um, so there's that. All right. I kind of think whoops, that's kind of all that I have there. Hang on. Lock yourself. Okay. So sometimes it doesn't hear me say lock yourself. I really think it thinks that I'm saying, sorry, voiceover. Uh, I really think it thinks I'm saying go fuck yourself because it'll be like, I don't want to, I'm not going to respond to that. And I'm like, no, go lock yourself. Anyway, one of these days I will get an iPad that let's see what's up with the tarot that actually can be locked. That's not exactly on the list of investments right now because guess what? I am having to replace pretty much my entire wardrobe right now because I am shrinking in a good way. I haven't really been trying to lose weight. I have simply been very disciplined about every day getting at least a mile of walking. I've been lifting weights, not as consistently as I would like, but I have been doing it. And next thing I knew, more than half of my clothes no longer fit. So I've been having to upgrade my wardrobe. Not mad about it. Needed new clothes anyway, but now it kind of became one of those like, okay, my pants are literally gonna fall off my butt. And I had many that had like drawstring on them, but you can only drawstring tie so much. So anyway, this is Saturn and Neptune in my sixth house. Getting my health together, getting my body together. I did not intentionally do this to lose weight. I did this because I want my body to feel good at 47. Um, so anywho, let's see what is going on with the tarot for this full moon. Um, Got the two of swords in reverse. Decision's already been made. There is no decision to be made. I think this is the case. I think that whether it's in something's already in place, something's already moving forward. Even if you don't think it is, it's already moving forward. You've put it out into the universe. Even like the transformation, the rebirth of governments and power, all of the systems and structures that are collapsing. There's already something new coming in. We may not be aware of it, but it's already coming into play. So there's kind of like there's no decision that needs to be made. It's already in place. Now, that being said, remember that you are a co-creator with the universe and you still have to do your part to keep it going. But, the fate of whatever is already in process of happening. It's a matter of, and I can relate to that completely. Like, there's already things in place for me to move forward with my publishing, but like, I'm the one who still has to finish writing. Um, which card is this? Hang on. Some of these cards are really hard to see, I'm not gonna lie. This is the three. What is this? This is the three of tree. Only thing I don't like about this deck is I really wish they would put the suits on it. I think this is the Three of Pentacles. And it honestly looks like like a commute, like you have the support that you need. Like you have it, it's available to you. You just have to say the word. I think people really neglect that. There was something that my spiritual mentor taught me back in 2022 when I was working with a spiritual mentor to kind of really hone in my Scorpio moon and to hone in my human design and to hone in on like all aspects of me, but there was something that she taught me because 2022, for those who don't know, was a really tough year. I believe Saturn was in Aquarius, and I believe it went across my moon fucking 3 times because it retrograded across my moon. So it went forward across my moon, it retrograded back across my moon, and then moved forward. That was fucking hard. Saturn squaring my moon. Um, but that was a really rough year. And she encouraged me to pray for him, heavenly helpers, right? There's heavenly helpers, they're angels, that, are in human form, of course, but like they're there to help others. And all you have to do is say the word, and you have these heavenly helpers. I 100% believe that. And it's not because of the people who helped me that year when I needed help, but because I've been in situations where I've been offered a ride when like freak thunderstorms have happened, or like I've been offered rides on an airplane. This happened friggin' 16 years ago. I flew to Nashville for a conference. I talked about going to the conference, and the lady sitting next to me on the plane was like, "My husband's picking me up from the airport. We're happy to drop you off at your hotel." Okay. Random shit like that has happened for me over the years. So I 100% believe that whoever you need for support is available for you. You just have to ask for it. So, and it won't come in the form that you expect. I think that's the part that people really misunderstand about support is they have an expectation of what it's supposed to look like, and that's not how it shows up. So they turn it away. It's the classic man hanging out on his roof because of the flooding, and the boaters come by how many times to try and offer him rescue, and he says no. And the floodwaters end up engulfing him, of course, and he drowns and he goes to heaven. And he's like, God, why didn't you save me? I sent you 3 boats. So I think a lot of us get into this expectation. I had this for so long. This is why I didn't move to California until 2019, was because for the previous 9 years, I was like, I'm going to meet a man. We're going to fall in love. We're going to road trip across the country. That sounds like so much freaking fun. I've yet to have a man and have a road trip across the country. And I've been across the country a few times. So, my one car road trip was with my sister-in-law and her 2 cats. So not exactly how I envisioned it, but I still got to drive across the country. And the other times I went across the country, it was on Amtrak and it was equally beautiful. So what I'm telling you is that the heavenly helpers, the angels that are here to help humanity, don't always show up how we think. You expect somebody to walk up to your door and be like, "Hey, are you trying to do this thing? I got a truck. We can go do this thing." That's not gonna happen. But are you in conversation with other people who may be doing that same thing and need a road trip buddy or need I don't know, any number of things, right? I've had strangers drive me to events more often than people really want to think about. But I'm blind and I want to get places, so I ride it. I even rode back in a blizzard with a stranger. Granted, her and I had, known each other a couple days and by then, but you get the point, right? There are people out there that are willing to help. So let's see what's up with the dark magic before this video gets too long, because I feel like it's been a really long video. I don't even know how long it's been. Not gonna look. If it's 45 minutes or an hour, I will. Maybe there was a lot y'all needed to hear from me. Let's see what's up with this dark magic. Doo-doo-doo. We got the dream card, and the message on it reads, if my camera would like to focus. Life can be a dream come true. Yeah, I think these cards are pretty much speaking the same language right now. Life can be a dream come true. Let's get one more card on the situation. Um, Mountain. You are supported. Literally, the tarot and the oracle said the exact same fucking thing. Like, you can have your dream come true. You just got to ask for support. The decision's already been, these literally all speak the same frigging language. Just like literally couldn't have done that better if I tried. Oh my God, that's amazing. That's incredible. The decision's been made. Your dream is coming true. You just have, and you have the support that you need. Are you willing to say yes? Or are you just gonna binge watch some stupid Netflix show or some stupid fucking scrolling on TikTok? Wait, that's me. I'm sorry. Been really bad about scrolling lately. I've been better today. So anyway, hope you have a great full moon. I hope you have a great weekend. And of course, if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, if you want to find out where your Mercury is and how Uranus and Gemini might affect your Mercury in the rest of your life, you can book an appointment with me. My links are all below. Highly recommend. And yeah, so deadline's coming up very quickly for finishing the writing and getting ready to start the editing process of the book. There are potential launch dates early 2027. And the more I write it, the more I am excited. I'm learning a lot because I've had to do a little bit of digging on a couple of topics to finish off the writing part. So I am super pumped. So I hope you are too. I have some podcast guest appearances coming up. So I will post links to those episodes if you are interested in hearing me talk about various topics related to and associated with the book coming out in 2027. Then I will pop those links in here for you in the community section or the post section or whatever the fuck it's called this week. Anyway, talk to you later. Have a great one. Bye.